I just secured my very first commercial property deal. And in this video, I want to break down for you how much I paid for the property, when is the property going to settle, and what's the estimated return on the asset moving forward. Now, my name's Luke, and I talk all things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom. If you could subscribe to the channel down below, drop a like on this video, and head over to purposeproperty.com.au if you are looking to buy a property in Southeast Queensland in the next 3 to 6 months. Well, the news is out. I am officially becoming a commercial property investor, but I'm actually going to be taking some baby steps. So the deal that I've bought is in Southeast Queensland. And my strategy with this deal is part business, part commercial in terms of the asset selection. So I've actually secured lot number 4 at Shayla Park Innova project on the south side of Brisbane. Now this is going to surprise a lot of people. This is an off the plan, new build warehouse construction asset. Now, let me run you through why I would buy a new build, because I've talked plenty of times that I wouldn't buy off the plan and I wouldn't buy new builds. I'll tell you exactly how much I paid for the property and what my plans are moving forward with the asset. And so the property is located on the south side in a suburb called Shayla Park. I actually own an investment property in Shayla Park, and I'm going to be moving down into Logan, unfortunately because my wife passed away from cancer last year. And so all of my family are in that area as well. And I'm actually going to be making this commercial property our Purpose Property head office. And so I think for me, this is a great next step into the commercial space. And I've said a lot on the YouTube channel that I don't think people should jump into commercial too early. I think you should build your net worth and your asset base in residential if you can stomach the cash flow constraints, and then jump across into commercial assets once you do a sell down strategy. And so that's exactly what I'm looking at doing. Now, you might be thinking, oh, Luke, I've watched your videos before. You've got around $8 million in Southeast Queensland. Why are you buying a commercial property there as well? Well, the reality is I'm going to be selling one of the assets in early 2026. And so that's going to reduce the asset base or the exposure in Southeast Queensland by about $2 million, let's say. And so I'll go from $8 to $6 million, but the purchase price of lot number 4 at this Innova project in Shayla Park was $1,098,000. And it's a warehouse style construction. We'll show you some photos as we go through this video of the floor plans. And basically it's got a 35 square meter office space on a mezzanine level above the warehouse area. It's got 2 car parks that come with purchasing of the warehouse. And the great thing is our mortgage brokers, the guys from Cube Home Loans, have also purchased one of the other lots. I think it's lot number 1 on the corner, just a few doors down of where I've purchased. And so we're going to create a space where this is a little business hub between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. So it's really well located. The Shayla Park area allows myself and the team to get access along the gateway to the north side of Brisbane. We can use the tunnels to head into the city. We can drive down to the Gold Coast because Purpose Property, my buyer's agency, and my 7 staff, we cover as a boots on the ground team around a 50 kilometer ring from Brisbane, essentially Caboolture down to Coolangatta at the Gold Coast. Now on screen here, we've got some renders of what the location and what this commercial area is going to look like. You can see pulling in this car, and right at the end is number 4. You can see it on screen here. That's the one that I purchased right at the end of the driveway. When one of the reasons for purchasing it is there's a lot more car parks at the front for purchasing number 4. And you can see it's quite a large complex. There's actually a fair amount of warehouse spaces going into this complex. Now, as I said, I wouldn't usually buy an off the plan or a new build, but because this is landlocked and there's no more warehouse or commercial space that can go into this specific area, that's why I'm comfortable in buying a property in a new build type estate. Let's just go through and look at the master plan. Wow, look at that. So on screen here, you can see what is reserved and what sold. A lot more of the complex has now sold since I purchased number 4. Someone's actually reserved number 3, which is crazy. And so at the time when I was making the decision, I'll just move myself down here. At the time when I was making the decision, I was looking at either buying number 3 or number 4. You can see it's 175 square meters in total, and we'll take a look at the floor plan in a second. But the driveway comes straight in. So I'll be able to drive in, and if I rented out this space in the future, people will be able to duck straight into the warehouse from the driveway and then potentially duck straight back out again. And so you can see that the driveways run circular around the complex. And so that's why I specifically picked number 4. The reason is I was looking at cars coming down, an advertising opportunity, easier access in and out of the warehouse if I rent it to another tenant down the track, and lots of car parking spaces. You can see here there's lots of car parking across the front, above my head here, and there's even more car parks in front of the unit as well. So I think that's a prime position for the money. And the guys at Cube Home Loans have secured number one, just a few doors down. And that's the really exciting piece, is if people want to come and meet me in person in future and meet the broking team, we'll all be able to sit down in those office spaces and work together moving forward to help you in your property journey. Now let's take a look at the floor plan. So if we click in and have a look at number 4, you can see the ground floor is 140 square meters. There's a mezzanine space for 35, which is a total of 175, and 2 exclusive car parks, which is great. Which means that I shouldn't have to find a car park. And you can see a virtual view of what it might look like. So let's take a look at the floor plan. So this is what the space could look like internally. Pretty rudimentary. There's not a lot that can go wrong with these types of commercial spaces. Basically, a small kitchenette, stairs up to the office space, a toilet off to the side, and then plenty of floor space down below for, in our case, it's going to be offices and a YouTube studio and all those things, client meeting rooms. So potentially up here, we might have a podcast or YouTube or meeting space, and then we'll have more staff, on the floor space down below. And this gives you a vertical view of the space, so the ground floor down here, and you can see that toilet and washroom and the stairs off to the side, and then a nice clear open space and a big roller door, and then that mezzanine space coming up with enough room for a good amount of meeting space. Now, I paid $1,098,000, and in my opinion, it's probably a premium of about $100,000 to $150,000. Looking at other sales by square footage and things like that, you could probably buy a pre-existing site for about $950,000. So let's say I overpaid $150K to buy my first commercial property. And you might be going, Luke, what on earth are you talking about? You paid $150,000 premium to secure your first commercial deal. Now, there's a few reasons behind that. One, this is going to be my personal commercial premises for purpose property. So buying in the complex where we partner with our mortgage brokers, and there'll be accountants in that area and other professionals. So it makes sense from a business point of view. 2, I'm building the team. We're actually expanding into another market. We're going to be expanding into Melbourne very soon in the buyer's agency for 2026. So our team is growing internally as well. And we really pride ourselves on high quality service. And we're building our boots on the ground team in the Melbourne market as we speak. And so it's just a matter of having the space to grow into by buying a place like this. 3 is the location. I'll show you exactly where this is because it's landlocked. So on screen, you can see this is the Logan Hyperdome, which is a major shopping centre in Logan on the south side of Brisbane. Now, the space of where this complex is going in is right in here. So you see this patch of dirt. There's a bunch of residential houses and there's a bunch of commercial property in this area. This is the last space in this specific precinct. If I zoom out, you can see all this space here. Now, one of my investment properties in Shayla Park is located in this area. And the reason I like this location so much is it is landlocked. It is established property essentially. And you can see that there's really no more room for commercial space to be built out in this specific pocket. Now, if you zoom out, you'll see, okay, there is lots of space down at Stapleton or Gilberton or Ormo or Pimpama or Yatala for more commercial property to be constructed and warehouses like this. But the great part about buying this property is it's in Shayla Park. And so it's in this precinct where there'll be no more assets. Now, let's say that you could have bought a older rundown property for $950. In my opinion, it's not going to be prime in terms of the location or prime in terms of needing work in terms of the fit out. The great thing about buying a new build is I'm going to get depreciation. I'm also going to get the benefits of a complex that's brand new. So as far as clients coming through and meeting me and going into the complex, it's going to be a good experience for everyone involved. And so the other reason is that this property won't be constructed for a year. So I bought off the plan. The estimated date of when the completion will take place is roughly December 2026. So about a year and a month from today. And the good thing about that is I can use what's called a deposit bond. So instead of putting $110,000 down as the deposit, so 10% cash, you can work with, and I am working with the guys at Cube Home Loans to do what's called a deposit bond. Basically, all a deposit bond is an IOU. I owe you money, property owner or developer who's constructing this asset, and I'm going to give you that deposit when the time comes. And in the meantime, I'm taking out a deposit bond for say $20,000 as a guarantee that I will pay you in a year's time the remaining cash once the property is ready to settle. And so that's essentially how this deal is working. Now, if it was to rent on the market once it's constructed, looking at comparable assets, it should rent for about a 6% net yield. So roughly $65,000, $70,000 a year would be the estimated rent of a 175 square meter warehouse space, which in my opinion is one of the most premium locations in this development. And that was specifically why I picked number 4, is because of those reasons with the driving access, the frontage as cars come down. I wanted that prime location, and there wasn't any price difference between number 3 and number 4. So that made an easy decision for me because of those minor benefits on top to buy that specific lot number. And so if for whatever reason I decided, no, I want to go into a different location with the business, or no, I want to continue with our office in closer to Brisbane, whatever the decision making is in a year's time, I'm confident that this is the right decision for me to make a step into the commercial space. And so that's the reasoning I bought something brand new and off the plan and spent probably $100,000, $150,000 over on this specific site. The other thing with that overpayment is it doesn't settle for a year. And so really you've got to think about it that I'm locking in a price of where the property should be by the settlement date. And so that's the other reason that the property has such a premium on it, is that the contract price isn't really reflecting today's price or what you could buy today. It's reflecting the value of property and prices in December 2026. So this is my first foray into the commercial property space after building a $10 million residential property portfolio. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below about buying a warehouse style, potentially even turning it into an office, which is what we're doing, space for around that $1 million price point, and whether you think it's a good decision at my stage of my property portfolio. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you do want help buying property here in Southeast Queensland, head over to purposeproperty.com.au to book in a free chat with myself. Our pricing and our process is all on our website, so you can be informed about making that next property decision. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.